Hi everyone, this is a reading update slash book haul thing. Just to let you know where I've been as far as my reading because I've been really bad about updating my Goodreads. I'm not sure if I'm going to keep using Goodreads for that just because it's disappointing. I see all my friends read so many more books than I do, and I feel like my goal is by December to be reading a book a week, and it's such a tiny goal. And it's giving me so much trouble, and so it's kind of demoralizing every time I go on to Goodreads to update where I'm at. What did I read last month? Mostly, I read part of Zadie Smith's Changing My Mind and Raymond Carver's Where I'm Calling From. These were the two I read the most. As far as audiobooks, I read about a third of Che Guevara. It's a biography and it's really, really long. I think it's got like 40 chapters. It's really long and the narrator is very hard for me to listen to. Um, and at first I thought it was just because that was an older book he narrated, but then I got a newer book and he's just as hard to hear listen to. He puts me to sleep. And so I have to keep rewinding, which is frustrating. Um, and so my goal was to read an essay a day and a short story a day, going by Ray Bradbury's recommendations for new writers, and a poem a day. I've pretty much kept with the poem a day just because some days I read a couple poems and some days I don't read any, and it averages out to about one a day. But I haven't been tracking the poetry because I just haven't been. I need to. I was doing great on the essay a day and the short story a day until I hit, which one was it? In Zadie Smith, I was loving this book. And then I hit this one essay that just took me weeks to get through. Literally, it's like 20 pages. Seven, eight, nine. Yeah, it was 26 pages, something like that. Two directions of the novel, and she's talking about these two novels. And I haven't read either of them, but usually that's not a difficult thing for me. I think I would have perhaps gotten more out of it if I had. She was talking about Remainder, and the other novel was Netherland. And I do plan to read both of those novels and then come back and reread this essay because it was a very interesting essay, but it was very brain intensive and it literally just it halted me. And I really need to get out of this. At one point I thought I should go ahead, read other essays and then come back to this essay, and I didn't do that. And I think what I'm going to do the next time that happens is I'm giving myself permission, if a short story or an essay in a collection is giving me a hard time, to skip it and then come back to it periodically until I finish it. Because my goal is to read the entire book. I'm really looking forward to tonight's essay, which is That Crafty Feeling. And so I should finish this book by this month. Very, very, very good book. I love it. There's a bunch of essays in here that I plan to reread, especially in the first section, which is really about reading and a lot of philosophy. There's a lot of things in those essays that I've decided I want to read later and then come back and reread the essay to understand it a little more fully. But I love her essay writing style. And honestly, it's my first time really reading essays. Going all the way through college, you write essays. But I don't think any of my professors ever sat down and just gave us an essay to read, like a good literary essay. And so it was very interesting. And that whole section is pretty much on reading. And so the next section is on being. And I'm really, really looking forward to that section. So that's what I've been doing as far as the essay front. And then for short stories, I've had this since I was in junior college. I think I got it in like 98 or something. It's really old. It's older than some of the people that are watching this channel. And when I got it, I was supposed to read 4 short stories in it, and I read 2 because I was that student who got straight A's but never really did all the work I was supposed to. And so I'm going back through it and I'm reading it, and I was supposed to be done and I didn't finish just because I got distracted. And I find reading short stories, especially Raymond Carver, I can only read one, and then some, you know, in the beginning they were shorter short stories, and so I would read one and I'd think about it, and then the next day I'd read one. But I ran into a couple short stories where I read it, and it took me a couple days to truly digest the story before I could read the next story. And so again, I'm behind. I'm about 244 pages in, so I'm about halfway. It's funny, up until 2 stories ago, I didn't really understand what the big deal about Raymond Carver was. There was a couple stories in here that I honestly enjoyed, but there was nothing that really just opened the sky up and made the harps play until I got to his longer short stories. And I'm finding I love his longer short stories. In particular, The Third Thing That Killed My Father Off. I love that one. And then So Much Water, So Close to Home. Both of those short stories, I was like, okay, now I get it. Now I get Raymond Carver. Now I get why he was so influential and so important. And those two short stories, I can guarantee you, those two short stories are going to play a very vital role in how I tell stories in the future because they impacted me that greatly. I'm already looking forward to going back and rereading them. In particular, The Third Thing That Killed My Father Off. It is like a novel in a short story, you know? And I feel like Raymond Carver really hits his stride right around 6,000 words. He has a lot of stories in here that really are flash fiction, no more than 1,000 words, and they're good. But I feel like you really don't get the full effect of his language and the depth of meaning and how his simple language can carry so many layers until you get to some of his longer stories. And those two stories in particular are absolute masterpieces, in my opinion. There was another one that I really, really enjoyed. Let me see if I can remember the name of it. It's about a guy with some neighbors and they're having marital problems. I think it might actually be called Neighbors. Let me check real quick. No, that's not it. Um, I can't remember, but it's really interesting. He has these neighbors, and they're not doing well, and the wife leaves the husband. Oh, what? No, that's not it. I can't remember, but it was a really, really, really good, good short story. There's just so much in these, and some of these I didn't actually like, but even the ones that I didn't necessarily like, they made me think, which I like in a short story. You know, these are stories that. Oh, the one I was thinking about is What Do You Do in San Francisco? That's a really good, really, really good story. But what I was saying is, I like these stories that when I read them, my brain has to work to fully understand them. Wow, I really do only have one earring in today. That's just attractive. And so I feel like his stories do that for me. Some of his shorter works are really snapshots, and I don't enjoy them as much as some of the longer ones. I feel like some of the really, really short ones, there's depth, but it's missing something. Like a lot of them, I feel like they're missing detail or they're missing emotion. Whereas the longer stories, they completely suck me in. Even if they're only, 15 pages, they suck you in. And when you come out of it, you feel like you've read an entire novel, even though you've only maybe read 15, 20 pages. So I've got about halfway to go. I'm going to, again, finish this one by the end of the month, definitely. I'm really excited about this. Now, as far as my writing and how that comes in, why that's important in a book haul, because it actually is important. In July, end of July, I'm going to the Napa Valley Writers Conference, and the person that's going to be leading the workshop I'm attending is Samantha Chang. She is a director over at Iowa Writers Workshop, and so she has two novels, and I really felt like I wanted to read her work before I attended her class, just to get an idea of the type of writing she does, the things that she's most likely to focus on, because it's my first workshop like this. And yeah, I wanted to get an idea of what that level of writing is and what I would want to, I feel like if I've read her writing, I can kind of look at it and say, okay, these are some things that I know I'm lacking in my writing, and then maybe I can address those in the workshop. I mean, it's just an idea. And so I wanted to pick up two of the novels, and I'm broke. Did not want to pay full price, and do not sleep on that new and used button at the end of Amazon, because I got two hardbacks. These hardbacks like 25, 30 bucks a piece, and one is used, very good condition, and the other one is like new condition. very accurate. The only thing, like the dust jackets are slightly wrinkled on the edges. The insides look like they were bought and never read. And both books total $9.50. So this one is Inheritance by Lan Samantha Chang. I'm really looking forward to reading this one. Um, when I read the introduction, it kind of reminded me of Joylet Club, spanning 7 decades. It's her first novel, and it's about a Chinese family that gets separated, and then evidently the sister moves in with the husband to help take care of the children or whatever, and then they fall in love, and then the original wife leaves the family over it or something. I don't really understand everything that happens, but I'm really looking forward to finding out. I picked it up. It's a beautiful book. I like the size. You'll notice I don't buy a lot of hardbacks, but thinner hardbacks I like because they're comfortable in my hand. When it comes to really thick books, I like softbacks because I trash my books. But I like the length of these. But most importantly, I picked this up and I read the Dust Jacket and I was like, oh, that sounds like a really interesting story. And then I picked up this one, which is All Is Forgotten, Nothing Is Lost. And I love that cover, by the way. I think that's beautiful. And it's about, here's what it says. Let me just read it. It says, at a renowned writing school in Bonneville, every student is simultaneously terrified of and attracted to the charismatic and mysterious poet and professor Miranda Sturgis, whose high standards for art are both intimidating and inspiring. As two students, Roman and Bernard, strive to win her admiration, the lines between mentorship, friendship, and love are blurred. I find this very interesting considering the topic. Well, at least like the first 50% of the book I'm writing, Remigian Rising. I think that's kind of funny. But also, when I opened this up, I read the first page, and the writing is beautiful. Oh my goodness. Her writing style is lovely. And it's not a very long book. It's only like 200 and some odd pages. Yeah, it's like 193 pages. The language is just beautiful. And this is again like me giving myself permission because I want to read both of these books before the conference. And I feel like I need to read a novel and not like a complicated need to hack my way through 1,000-page novel. I'm a quarter of the way through Che. I'm trying to get my way through War and Peace. I think I need a 200-page novel in my life right now to get me out of this reading ennui. This is what I'm unboxing today. I should have done this in something. I told myself this was going to be a really quick video. I'm 13 minutes in. This was not a quick video. I'm excited about this. I read this book in high school, and I need to reread it as part of my do-it-yourself MFA program for some of my research, but also for research for another project I'm doing. And because it had such an influence on me in high school, like seriously, this book changed my life. And so because of that, I wanted to go ahead and get it in hardback. I've been looking at it for a really long time and couldn't afford it. And I noticed it was on sale. And I picked it up. I originally tried to get it as a Kindle version, but when the 50th anniversary came about, you cannot get the Kindle version of this book in the US. You can only get it if you're overseas, and I tried to make the computer think I was from overseas, and it just wouldn't work. So if I was going to pay for it and have to buy it as paper, I wanted it as a hardback so I could have it forever because it really was that special. It's The Bell Jar by Sylvia Plath. This is the 50th anniversary American edition. And I really just wanted to show it because I was looking at the various editions, and when I went on YouTube, I didn't find a whole lot of videos showing the various editions. Originally $24.99. I got it for $15. So that was really good. It is a beautiful cover. This is so shimmery, and it's foiling. And when you open it up, it's just lovely. It's just lovely, lovely, lovely. If I take off the jacket, the actual cover is just really simple. I love this. It has like, it's embedded. with the Harper symbol there. And it's just lovely. I'm so excited. And it's the right size. It's a perfect size. You know, a lot of times I do like them just a little bit taller, but I think it's a really nice, comfortable size. And it's not a very long novel. And so, yeah, I'm very happy that I went ahead and picked it up as a hardback instead of a paperback. And ideally, over the next year, I'm going to be working to get all of her work in hardback, because she's one of the authors that I really want to study her use of language. And that is brings me back to like how I'm arranging my reading goals. I really am working at doing close reading, and that's the one thing I'm proud of. I may be frustrated that I'm not reading the quantity I want, but the depth of my reading has definitely improved over the past 6 months. Um, I feel like I'm getting more out of everything I read. I'm doing more thinking while I'm reading rather than just getting caught up in the story and having fun. I'm actually like thinking and seeing how the writer did things, and broadening how I look at literature. And so that is something that I'm really proud of. It was one of my goals that I wanted to read more deeply, and that is one goal that I can say, here it is. It's not quite July. My goal was to read more deeply by December, and this is a goal that I have definitely achieved. So now I just got to get myself up to a book a week so that next year I can work on getting up to 2 books a week. Hey, yeah, go figure. I'm on that train. Come join me. Ciao. Let me see if I can turn this off.